Good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. again on Saturday, and we bring to you important knowledge that will enable you to achieve the greatest in 2025. 2025, unlike any other years, is a year of wildcat. You know how wildcat goes, and they're crazy, they're jumping on the wall and they're coming down on the ground. And I have two of those wildcat at home, so I know how they work their daily life. So you got your 2025 with the new administration, it is expected to change. But now, when we talk about 2025 tax season preview, and then what do we talk about? So let me just kind of walk you through. Don't get so anxious about 2025. There's a lot of things didn't change when you do your 2024 tax return. You're still in Biden administration, and the things happens in 2025 would really get to your skin when you file 2025 tax return, which will be in 2026, right? So the tax people, I always say that the tax people are historians. They're dealing with history happened already, rules already out. So that's how they do their filing, right? But your financial planner are who? They are not a historian. They are the dreamer. They are the blue sky creamery kind of people, and they look into the future. They give you such a nice, picture of the future, or such a gloomy future to make you do things at this time. So dealing with tax people is a lot easier because we are historians. We don't create things, but we get things settled for you for the past year. So let's look at my website, folks, and you see that onboarding with us. That is a button. If you click, you can upload your document. You can tell us what you need. You can become our client midnight, and you know that you got it done. And next thing you know is us contacting you. So it is a place we designed for busy entrepreneurs. And when you don't have time during the day, when you don't have time on the weekend even, and you can come online with us just like that. And you can also click the appointment button. That's where you see the people that you can meet on video conference. Of course, the yellow button is what we relying on our clients' support. Keep us strong, keep us going, keep us operating 6 days a week on the market. So we're here for you. Then the next screen I want to show you is our YouTube channel. You always can find what we talked about today or what we talked about before here. And we load our videos to this library. We call it library because it has all the things we talked about. Of course, you know how knowledge do update and do expire. So not all the videos content are relevant because of the passage of time. Just be really sensitive to the time mark, sensitive to the topic. Some of the topics still good because nothing changed, but some it do change, right? All right. So let me get going with the PowerPoint that I prepared for this meeting. So 2025 tax season preview. And about our firm, and this is what we listed on the numbers because we're a numbers person. So we do have 40 professionals and 12,000 clients. We have 27 years of practice experience inside of the firm. And that means we are on market for 27 years. I mean, when you work with a CPA firm, you want to look for the longevity of the firm itself because you don't want to lose your CPA even before you lose yourself, right? So you want that person or that firm still be there when you are weak and dying or going through the last chapter of your life, and people are there to support you. I always say that financial planner and your tax people are really the two kind of people that you want to keep them alive longer than you, just because that's when you needed them the most, right? So with the 27 years we have under our belt, we probably can comfortably say that we went through 3 generations already. So we have grandparents who are our client, then the parents, then the kids. It's just amazing. Amazing that how with generations we improve, especially when I think about those clients I have when they gone through the 3rd generation. Amazing. This is where I say that you step on your parents or your grandparents' shoulder and you reach higher. It's not because, those kids who grow up in this kind of family, they do better. It's because they actually had their baseline higher. And this is where, all of these controversies come in, right? Like, do we, the educations we provide, we want the kids has no money and no home environment, but learn like a scientist and become a scientist. That requires the society, the support from the government and all that. But 2025, we'll see whether Department of Education even exists, right? So that is one of the plan to get rid of the Department of Education. So some of those low-income family, the kids would not get good education. That'll be expected, because that's how the system works when you privatize the education. All right, so appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Those are the 2 books I wrote, folks. And you can go on Amazon and you can purchase that book. If you'd like me to autograph it for you and you want to come to one of our branch and get the book, and then I will do that for you. And I'm truly proud with the book because I have a lot of feedback from our clients. They read my book and they tell me how they feel about the book. I am working on getting the 8 a.m., 10 a.m. Revised as 8 a.m. sharp and the 10 a.m. sharp. I'm also working on the 2 p.m. a.m. Okay, I will have a 2 a.m. I worked, my last appointment on record is 2 a.m. So, 2 p.m. is expanding your business. I'm having fun gathering information and writing that book. I think it will be really cool. It will show you how an ordinary person, small business person, can rack up a business, ordinary business, into a national franchise, into a national, regional businesses. That is expansion beyond yourself. That's the 2 p.m. book. All right. No responsibility disclaimer. Isn't that kind of like, I never liked it, but I know it is the right thing to do, even though I show you how reliable we are and how good we are, but still, the knowledge we give you is you need to digest it properly and go through your attorney if you need to, and making sure that it is right before you implement. But we welcome you to become our client. That way, everything we do for you, we take responsibility when we have the service relationship. All right, 2025 tax season is for 2024 tax returns. We want to say that because people get confused all the time. When they, remember I said that tax people are historians? We are in 2025. What are the tax people doing right now? They're gearing up to file 2024 tax return. That's why professionally, in the professional firm, you hear people talking about 2024, 2025 tax season. What they mean by that is 2024 tax return, but done in 2025, it is the time in 2025 to file 2024 tax return. So your 2025 is a wild card, like I told you. 2025 will have so much change, I promise you, and it will affect every corner of your tax return. You have 4 corners on tax return. It's not even enough corners. We just need to know that a lot of changes coming, but that coming in 2025 will be realized when you are in 2026 filing 2025 tax return. So that will be 2025, 2026 tax season. But today, we focus on 2025 tax season. All right, key consideration. And to tell you that because we are historians, so we work on 2024, you guess what? No significant new legislation in 2024 because the Democratic Party, Biden administration was too busy for election in 2024. There was just not much was done. So good or bad, and that is the reality. 2024, we didn't have much going on the tax side. Potential changes due to the sunset of Tax Cut and Jobs Act, TCJA. And there is a bunch of changes are coming in 2025. So this is actually President Trump's act back when he was the president. So he had this TCJA come out, and the Biden's administration carried it on, and that expiration time is in 2025. So we are stepping into a year that whole thing, a lot of it, is sunsetting, which means it's going away. And a possible new renewal coming through with Trump's second term, possible. But there's no one can say for sure because we have a president are just literally very wild. So you better enjoy the ride and buckle up, don't get injured in the process of roller coasting. And be aware of technology changes. Obviously, you know Elon Musk is such a good companion for Trump, and technology advancement, efficiency, those are the things Elon has the most in his head. And you can already see that coming through. All these reforms are related to the technology change. There will be a lot of that. If you are in the business and you don't deploy a lot of technology, and 2025 is the year that will force you into it. And you have to, because that is where we're going. In reality, as a country, if we fall behind on technology, we are going to end up be the third tier of country. And it is really important that these technology changes are coming forward and we embrace it and making sure that the businesses are catching up on that as well. And my ideal in terms of technology is whatever is out there, you want to look to see whether that would be part of your business implementation, whether you can adopt to that, because it doesn't take overnight to adopt to a technology. It takes the mentality of willing to change, then implementing the change, fail, and then finally you make it. So it's just really a process and making sure that you have that open mind. And I am watching the technology changes very carefully, especially in the tax area. There's just so much advancement. I'm talking about every month. It's not even every year. So with that said, the key consideration for 2025 is technology change, because you got Elon Musk behind the new administration and pushing for it. So you got what I'm saying, right? Understand the law changes and the importance of getting them right. When a new rule come out, when a new law enacted, even though it goes through the public comments and there's already a lot of changes to the language of it, but interpretation of law is totally different from making it a law. So with that said, implementation, understanding the new rules, regulations, and laws and acts, that become a deal. And at Community CPA, we're actually very proud of ourselves in terms of understanding the rules and regulations fall upon us, fall upon our client. We do scholarship type of studies, and we have Dr. Howe professors from the university, full professors of mathematics from Iowa State University, early retired and coming into our firm, and it does a lot of interpretation and the study of government rules and regulations. So we are good. We are so good with it, and you should know that when you run into a sticky situation, you know which door to knock, and we're here. Required minimum distribution, this is kind of new. That's why I want to bring it up, because enacted on July 2024. And what that says is that if you are reaching 33 years old and you got your retirement fund somewhere at Fidelity and you need to draw that money out, you have a minimum distribution requirement you have to fulfill. What if you didn't? Oh, I have money, I don't need it. No, because you will be penalized 25% of the amount you did not draw out. So this is kind of some of our clients caught in surprise because their financial institution did not inform them they are already 73 years old. You know, you sit here wondering, why don't you know you are 73 years old? You know, I am not kidding you. Some of my clients really don't know they are 73 years old because they act like 37 years old. And with that, and they don't really pay attention to their age, and they have money, you know, they don't need that money, so they forgot to draw that money. Don't forget, even if you have money, if you really have so much money you don't know where to spend, talk to me because I can direct you to some really meaningful nonprofit organizations. Then you can use your money to fund that nonprofit, make them going, because the government is taking away a lot of funding for those nonprofits. So we need more citizens, more Americans to be aware of, be funding proactive and to support those nonprofits, right? The importance of understand that RMD requirement, it will save you 25% of penalty. All right, 1099K changes. So there was a threshold change, means that if I am the company need to issue 1099K to my account, to my customer, and there was a threshold change. If the customer has more than 5,000 transactions, then my 1099K need to be issued because that 5,000 threshold is for 2024. So right now, these organizations like Venmo, like PayPal, they are working on getting 1099K out, but they are only going with the 5,000 threshold. So if you are $4,999, you don't get it. But if you are over that amount, you get it in 2024. In 2025, it's lowered by half. So if you got 2,500 transactions, they would report it. So what is the significance of the 1099K? It is very significant because this 1099K sent to you and also sent to IRS. So when you file your taxes, you don't identify that 1099K, the IRS assume you forgot to report the income. So don't let IRS assumption be wrong. So you need to make sure you get all your 1099K. Then when you report it in such a way that IRS know you reported it. And at the community CPA, when we do your tax return, we actually very clear in terms of your line item. If you are a company with like 10 different 1099K, we don't lump sum that number for you. We actually identify each one of them for IRS. So when we submit your return, IRS also have the number on the other side. They are happily matching each other like a happy marriage. Then you will never have any issue. So this is why 1099K threshold is important. So let's say you know that you didn't go over the threshold in 2024, but you know that it's going to go over next year. So what I would recommend for you is to report the actual amount and still break it out. So that way, that vendor and that company who issued the 1099 will have a place next year for you in 2025. So this is one 1099K changes related to credit card, merchant account, Venmo, and Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, things like that. All right. Let's talk about digital asset transactions. This is in the making. In June 2024, last year, the IRS and Treasury issued a final regulation providing rules for taxpayers to determine their digital asset basis and the gain and loss from those transactions. It is similar to when you buy stocks on the platform. For example, you have TD Ameritrade, you buy stocks and you sell stocks, and they give you a 1098B, right? 1099B report. And you can identify the transactions and each transaction gain and loss. Then you can report them accordingly, whether they're short-term, long-term, gain or loss, and things like that. So that becomes final for digital asset, which are cryptocurrencies, right? And that the IRS introduces a new form called 1099-DA, okay? And digital asset proceeds from broker transactions to taxpayer reporting the gross proceeds. Gross proceeds, ladies and gentlemen. I am not talking about gain and loss. Gross proceed is everything you traded, add together. That could be several $1 million, but you actually just have about $100,000 in your actually amount inside of this digital asset, just because you're trading them 1 million times a day. You ended up going to have a gross proceed of a huge amount. So this becomes so important that you actually have the transaction reported properly, so you have your gain and loss at the end. I know Coinbase has already implemented 1099, 1099B type of structure. So this requirement of 1099 is still in the draft form, right? And it is not going to be adopted by all the platform right away. And if they are delayed, they actually work with IRS to get their company extended on implementing such a form. So that is coming. For 2024, you will see 1099-DA from some platform, but it is not all implemented, and which is already known. So with that said, and you know that your Freedom Day is coming to the end, you need to be in compliance with all of these details, just like how you trade stocks on the Schedule D you had before, right? The next one is deserve a attention. It is the clean energy credit. I want to say this to you. This clean energy credit doesn't have an income limitation. So if you make a lot of money, you don't get chopped off like the electronic vehicle tax credit. They have a limit. The limit is kind of small for a lot of my clients. So even though they bought this electronic vehicle, then we have to inform them that you don't qualify for that 7,500 credit, right? Because your income is so high, you got kicked out by IRS. So, but this clean energy credit it is not limited to your income. So there is one called ITC. It stands for Investment Tax Credit. Allow homeowners and businesses to claim 30% tax credit for the cost associated with the installation of solar energy system and other renewable energy technologies. This rate is applicable through 2032. It does get reduced, but 2024 is 30%. So what that says is that, let's say you spend $10,000 on solar panel installation of your house. 30% of 10,000 is what? It's 3,000. Am I right? $3,000 become your tax credit will reduce your taxes that you paid on your W-2 by 3,000. Make sense? So it is not an income deduction. It is a tax reduction. Okay? Under the Section 25D, the qualified taxpayer can claim a credit up to 30% for expenditures related to installing renewable energy properties, including solar, wind turbine, and geothermal heat pumps. Don't ask me what that is. And battery storage technology. I know this one is connected with solar panel so that you also build a battery storage for the solar panel. And you must file the 5695 form to get there. All right? Then let's look at the electronic vehicle tax credit. This is also a tax credit, $7,500 to reduce your W-2 withholding. But it has a limitation on income. So if you are a single filer and it's $150,000, so if your W-2 is $200,000, you're out of this league, so you can't get it. But for a head of household, it's $225,000. For joint couple, $300,000. It's really not a lot. A lot of our clients was not able to do this just because of the income limitation. Of course, this is for brand new one. But for the used one, it's $4,000. And also, I want you to know, last year, 2024, there are dealerships, they give you that amount without you going through your tax return. So they give that to you because they can do that. It is allowed. Some dealerships started from January the 1st, 2024, provide the credit to you right away. So with that said, that kind of got you to understand the electronic vehicle tax credit and make sure that don't get too excited to go get it without checking your tax return, right? Other important 2024 data for 2024, that standard mileage rate become 67 cents per mile in 2024, okay? And then you have the 179 deduction, you have a bonus depreciation, and the 179 deduction, this is similar to bonus. The only difference is that the 179, you cannot use the deduction to create losses in your business. So the maximum you can do is 1.2 million. Bonus depreciation is for the 40% of your listed properties. 40% of that, you can make the expense. Section 179, you can make $1.2 million expense if you made a $1.2 million net profit. So it is quite, it's a little deeper concept for regular tax talk. And we do have webinars talking about depreciation on in our video library. You can search and go listen to that. But if you don't want to spend your precious time for tax knowledge that you don't use it every day, you just want to hear what Ying says, then you just come over here. I only wasted, your afternoon napping time for 30 to 60 minutes, and we're pretty efficient in terms of not wasting your dinner time, not wasting your playtime. 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Normally people are sleeping. Even though they're working, they're half asleep anyway. So it is a wake-up time. 3 p.m. is a good time to waste your time. All right. Now, the growing effort in direct file. I want to mention this to you because it is a good news for taxpayers who doesn't want the third party. They just want to do their own taxes. They can do direct filing. This is the trend for the future tax file. It will become so simple. It will become so intelligent as well as a system. Normal taxpayer without a business really don't need to do anything. The government will take care of your taxes, and you only need to review it, goes yes, no, maybe, and then you will go to next step. So this is a growing effort at the government, all level of government. So the IRS is doing it, the state revenue is doing it, and even county and city are doing it. So just a direction, right? I talked about IT. I talked about the directions in terms of, how our future finance life would be. Obviously, and if you are semi-interested in spending your time learning things, you literally the best candidate to file taxes, direct file with the government, and using the government system, which will be secure, which will be straightforward, and I suspect that they're going to have a really good intelligence behind it because Elon Musk is behind it. So with all of that, it will lessen the burden on the market for all of these tax preparers who has to run everybody's taxes. I'm not saying that, oh, Ying, are you saying that you don't want to work on my taxes? No, because I believe certain people's taxes should be going straight to the government without spending any money. Your taxes are straightforward and there's no gray areas, and go to the government, you're done, right? You don't have to pay anybody anything. You don't have to spend a lot of your time. It's done. So direct file. And some of the businesses, especially business owners who are in the stage of expanding, who are in the stage of growing, and they're just like those. They're the people that in my 2 p.m., in my 10 a.m. book. Those are the people. You absolutely need to engage professionals to get your taxes done, get your tax planned, get your tax strategy implemented ahead of time. So those are the people really should be hovering around the CPA firm, finding the best people who can serve you and stick with them, have a team, then you grow your business. But for a lot of our people, a lot of in the minority communities, the new immigrants, so their tax return should be so simple. That should not go to, go somewhere and get charged for a couple $100. It's just not right. They should be done free of charge, and IRS should take that responsibility, right? And make less error, and we can focus, your CPA people can focus on more important things for the market. All right, documentation and audit, I want to mention this, just like the direct file is a growing trend, documentation and audit is also a growing trend. So recent years since the pandemic finished, there's increased focus on IRS audit. For certain type of taxpayers, though, that includes the high net worth individual. And it is increasingly important to have the documentation done correctly. And in one of my webinars, I mentioned that, now we have the scan and digital space and save files and things like that. And when we come to audit, we ask folks, okay, do you have receipt for that? Oh, yes, I do. I do scan, and I scan everything. It is there. Then what happened? Oh, my computer couldn't start. Haven't really turned on this computer for a couple of weeks. It's just dead. And what should I do? Now I don't have anything. Listen to that. You are in audit, and we made assumption that you have everything. Then you turn around, tell us that it's all gone, evaporated, and don't know where that is. So those are the things not going to sell really well with the government. They are going to be very excited because you have nothing in your hand, so they can assess you any way they want it. So with that said, in the digital age, I want folks to actually understand the danger of losing it all, because it's so quickly you lose it all. If you put all your receipt in the box, and years after years you got 12 bucks out there, you can't lose it all. You lose one box, 2 boxes, you have the other boxes, right? But digital is different. It can lose everything in one shot. So maybe you should think of the variety ways to store your data. And at Community CPA, we have a portal. Our clients store their data there. When we prepare your taxes, all of your tax backup papers are actually stored in our server. And our server is never die server, because our server is in West Coast. If that didn't work, it goes to the East Coast, like right now, with the fire going on in the West Coast, and our digital side of things has already operating in the east side of the country. So with that said, you know that it is possible, even though it's digital, it still can be safe. So you just need to know the audit didn't get any better with digital age. They still needed you to show them how you spend your money, how you made your money. All right. And know that the increasing IRS audit, you know how President Trump said that he was under IRS audit, and nobody really know that was true or not true, but sounded like he cares about being audited by IRS, right? So that would be translating to all the business people here that you can be audited by IRS easily. So just be prepared. 2025 years, do your tax planning. And I wrote in really big letter because you may not need to do tax planning before 2025, but 2025 is a year you must do. Too many changes, too wild, and almost like kicking, this 2025 years is keeping our adrenaline high. It is just like it's a year of we need to hold our breath, wait what is coming. And the businesses have more than $1 million sales in the calendar year of 2025 should do tax planning for that year. And our tax planning time is from October of 2025 goes to the January 15th of 2026. So just so you know, that's the period. Book your time with us now. Do not wait until later, because literally running out of time. I literally ran out of time this time for the tax planning 2024 because people couldn't find a space on my calendar. And when you go online to search to book my video conference, you realize that you have to move your date to quite later to get me with a free space. That tells you how booked I am, how booked all of our partners are in the planning time. 2025 years tax planning highlight, I have 2 slides related to that. I actually think that this is very important for you to know even before you're heading over to the end of 2025. Individual income tax rate could change in 2025. The standard deduction could change in 2025. The personal exemption can change. The estate exclusion amount will be reduced if there's no more change coming. So that's not a good news. Okay? The 10,000 cap on the state and local income tax that one is a killer for all of our Iowa, Minnesota, Kansas, Nebraska, Michigan, all the Midwest state suffers from that rule. And I mean, it is coming from Trump's first term. So when he made that rule, he was living in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And Florida is the state would not matter for this one because they don't have income tax for individual, but we do. So, but during the campaign time, and Trump actually did say something that he would reverse it. Then someone was saying that, oh, wow, you're the one putting the rule there, and now you want to reverse it? Really, you're going to do that? And, I think he will do that. I think he is, that this is where there's no logic between actions, and he just go with what happens at the time. So it depends on what liquor was drunk that day. I'm just kidding. Trump never drink. Trump is actually a person that with that kind of lifestyle, with that kind of money that he has, he does not drink. Isn't that fun? No, not fun. That's pretty good. And because he has a brother who really is addicted to alcohol, and that tells you how much of mental strength this guy has. That's all. Mental strength is actually very important in one's success. All right. Other consideration with possible changes in TCJA, pass-through entities, and the estate and the gift tax return. So those are things, if the new administration doesn't do anything, it will all blow up open. But I'm pretty sure they're going to do something. That's why 2025 would be a very eventful year for tax side of the life. All right. So the last slide for today is to getting up to speed. Yeah, pull you out of the couch and don't snap anymore. And I send you out to the cold so you can start running and getting some heat for yourself. And discuss your strategy with your tax professionals, with us. If we're not your tax professionals, I'm wondering why. You better tell me why, because there's no reason why you're not our client. Even though there are some processes that are automated, and it does involve the tax expert to put strategy inside. I say that is sometimes you have these tax preparers. What they do is they know how to operate that computer. They just put in the number and see whether it fits, then go from there. But how do you strategize your input? Is this better off to be expenses under Schedule A, or maybe expenses under Schedule E, supplemental income and expense sheet? Or maybe it should belongs to the Schedule D on the capital gain and loss side. These are the things a simple computer user not going to give you that. The kind of strategy need to come from the overall look of your situation. Then we can place our strategy to certain ways and making sure all the checks, all the balances are verified and the things are done properly before we send out to make you certain way, then you pay the least taxes. Paying least taxes is the goal, but getting it done right is even more important than saving taxes. Because if we do it right, you can save a lot, you don't have worry. But if we do it wrong, even if we didn't save, you're still going to come through with a problem with IRS or with other government agencies. Reach out to our firm for questions and guidance. You can go to our partners' appointment page, and each one of us has a description of what we do. So based on that, you can go in, book our time, and we'll be there for you. And this calendar you see online is linked to our real working calendar. So if we have a meeting, we already have a meeting blocking that time. So when you see time open, that means time open. So you can book our time. We will come to you. The last slide I have here is our subscribe button for the YouTube channel. If you subscribe and if you give me a thumb up for this video and you get notifications of our future topics. Being such a wild ride in 2025, why not? And we talk about everything here. And in terms of our comments, our ways of doing things, we are independent. We don't rely on governments to subsidize the operation. So we are operating based on our client's interest. So with that said, every topic we talk about, it is something our client is interested. It's not because Trump told me to talk about that, so I talk about that. No. It is you told me that is important. That's why we talk about it. And subscribing to our channel is just going to answer questions that you have. And of course, our website, there is an email address for Catherine at communitycpa.com. She's our marketing manager here, and she also, not all the marketing manager can do what she does. She also is the person that decide on what topic I would talk about any given time, because she has the pulse of the community. She knows what's out there. Of course, our phone number, 515-288-3188. We open 6 days a week. Saturday, you call us. The real person come online to talk to you. And our Minnesota office and the Des Moines office opens for Saturday. So we'll talk to you very soon. And Happy New Year's for 2025 and happy tax season. If you are our client already, you will not be surprised with what we can do for you for 2024 because you already come through the tax planning. But if you're not our client, want to give us a shot, this is the right time to do it. I will talk to you again, and thank you for joining me at this webinar.